Good morning. We have had some weird weather this time of August. We've had some rain that's coming from the opposite direction, and I was enjoying the dry weather. And I guess it's nice to have rain, but all it's going to do is make the grass start growing, and then we're going to have to start mowing it again. I remember last summer we had such a wet summer. We were mowing our grass like 3 times a week in September. That's how bad it was. It's been hot and humid, and it's not necessarily hot right now, but it is humid, and I'm feeling it. And you saw the water getting dumped out of my trailer. You know, that was from overnight, how much rain that we had. I thought, guys, I would just show you, and this would also help me out too with benchmarking where I'm at right now this time of the year. These are, here's some cherry, I guess. I build this cherry up here as like a wall to keep the weather from coming in. But this is 7 cords that are for my one restaurant. This is my FIFO system, first in, first out. So my driest wood is here, and the greenest wood is on the end. And I'm still pulling from the other side. I'll show you when we get there. But this row will be the first going to the restaurant when we switch to this section of wood. Sales-wise, our summer's been pretty good. Our sales are up over last year, and I've also been able to make more firewood than I normally does. And I think it's because of my the decision to move production back here. It's much more productive, and the Japa 405 is just a much more productive machine. I'm not saying that the 365 wasn't, because it's a great machine, but the 405, you know, it's just a bigger, stronger machine. Here is some oak. Where am I at here? This is oak that I got the one restaurant that likes this big split oak. I got oak in another section as well. We'll get there. And this is the remainder of that restaurant wood. This is mostly silver maple. There's beech and ash in there, but it's mostly maple. That's what the restaurant likes. And I like maple because it dries quick, it's easy to work with, and it looks great too. This restaurant cooks with wood in front of the customer, so that's one of the requirements, is that it has to look good. But this whole section, so I got like 3 cords left. This whole section I call another first in, first out, a FIFO. So I am now starting to backfill this with the maple that I make. So I got, this is 3 cords here. That's a cord, and this is 1 cord here, but my next cord I'll stack 2 rows. And the objective is keep chasing the dry wood with the green wood. And then when we get to the end, we go back and I start pulling from this side, loading the trailer, and it goes to the restaurant. It was a technique that I learned when I was involved with food production, a food production facility, and that was a method they used to produce or to minimize their waste with ingredients and all. They called it first in, first out. So if you opened up some type of ingredient, you know, like chicken or something, if it went back into the freezer, that was the first thing that you took the next time. You wouldn't open up another bag. I think you know what I'm talking about. This is cherry, and then all throughout here, guys, is what I've been working on all summer. Let's go for a walk down here, and maybe you can get some scale. This is cherry, and I just you know, you always have a process, but sometimes you get this. I just wound up with a bunch of cherry that I was stocking that got messed up into this load, so I just stuck it over here. Life still goes on. This is all going to be filled with this wood, but I left this open because it allows me to get around in here. But here we got 2 rows. Again, this is maple, beech, and ash. I occasionally get a cherry log stuck in here, but it can either go with this load or we can pull it out when the time comes. But this is my method. I get pallets, I lay them down, and I stack the wood on each side of the pallet, leaving this big gap in the middle. And this row, this is going north and south. So south is this way, north is this way. What that allows me to do is when the sun comes, it hits both sides of the logs, and it keeps mushrooms to a minimum. So my setup is I keep a wide gap between these rows. I'm going to end this one here because this is a cut through that I take with my trailer. And this allows me to get my trailer in here, and I can stack on both sides. And then in the fall, when deliveries start, I can get my truck in here and load broadside. Man, that makes life so much easier. I can have my truck loaded by myself in no time. But here's the second row. Again, I just get free pallets, I lay them down, and I just start stacking. I do not measure here at the yard. It slows me down. I just measure when the delivery is going out. I know exactly from all of the deliveries I've made in my truck. I know exactly what a quarter cord is, a third of a cord, a half cord. So I just stack. It saved me a lot of money because I was buying those T-posts, you know, to make 8-foot sections. But then, you know, you would have all these 8-foot sections, and then a customer wants a quarter of a cord, and then you're right back to where you started from, figuring out your quantities. This is more cherry. This is over a year old. This is for my one barbecue restaurant that likes cherry. Okay. And this is, so right here, guys, so where I'm at right here, I'm on the road, so I can back my truck up, and this helps me out in the late fall and the winter when the ground gets too soft for me to drive out there. I can back my truck up the road, and I can load these into the truck. So yes, I have to walk back and forth, but like right here, I didn't make it too long. This is a reasonable distance just to run, throw it into the truck, pick it up, throw it into the truck. And that allows me to keep, this is all cherry. This stuff is awesome looking, isn't it? That allows me to leave this center section open so I can get my trailer and my truck in here and go broadside. I had a bunch of oak in one of my triaxle loads, and I just know the way my one restaurant doesn't care about moisture content. I went ahead and just stacked it all here, and I figured by the time I get all of this delivered, this is all going to be opened up, and this will be all residential wood in here. Maple, cherry, ash. All right, so this is how I do it. I leave enough area open so that the truck can get in here and I can load broadside. And here is another row that I got going. Guys, I don't know how much is in here, but I know it's a lot. But I also know it's not enough. Again, this is just a row of pallets. You get them for free. It's easy to find free pallets. And then this is just, I stumble upon some stragglers. I lay them here, and I have my one pizza oven that has low, they don't really care about how the wood looks, but this is really dry, and it will burn great for them. And then this is a lone section of hickory. And I don't get a lot of hickory, and I don't know, guys, there's just something about hickory. It just looks, there's like this mite. Let me see if I can find some, guys. I mean, this is all like sawdust. There's some kind of a mite that loves hickory, and they start chewing on it, and they leave these big piles of sawdust. Got a bug on me there. And it blows off easy, but man, when it rains, it turns to paste, and it just looks terrible. Here you go. See all this? I was told that you'll never see them. They are harmless to your house and other kinds of wood. Here you go. It's just nasty looking. But they just like to eat hickory, and you pick one of these logs up and there's that big pile of sawdust underneath it. Ugh. But I don't have a lot of hickory. That's really all I have. Again, one row of pallets stacked on both sides, a big gap going down the center. And this is the work of my high school kid. I think he does a pretty good job stacking wood. And we have not had a stack of wood fall over in 4 years. It's one thing we're proud of. Here's another project. I've been getting these IBC totes, and I pick them up on my one route. When I'm out that way, I'll bring a few more home with me, but I can start getting these put into production. The one thing I learned too, you know, these weren't ever filled with poison or some kind of chemical. This was from a food production facility, so you know, there's no biohazard there, but man, it attracts bees and flies. I really haven't seen many bees this summer until these things came along. And it also makes me wonder too, I'm getting a little scatterbrained here. I've been thinking about putting canola oil in my processor, you know, to run the chain. I think that would be a good selling point. But then I was thinking, you know what, maybe that's a wintertime thing, because that oil is going to attract bees and bugs and stuff, and I don't know if I want to deal with them. I'll turn this around. So here is what I got going on supply-wise. I had a load of maple come in. This is a triaxle load. It had one big log on it, and I will have to hit that with the chainsaw and get the axis over here. I still don't have an ideal spot for the axis, and I just realized that I've gotten ahead of my video sequencing. This will all make sense to you, but I had moved the axis, and you're going to see where I've put it. And but then I do a video that'll be coming up here in the next week or two where I move it. This is prime Japa 405 firewood. It is going to make mincemeat out of this stuff. This is all soft maple, as the loggers call it, and this is my money maker. It's easy to work with. It's a hardwood. It dries fast. This is a load of old oak that will be for my one restaurant. I just would need to run these through the machine. As I was pulling from this pile up here and running it through the Japa, I would truck the oak here, because you know how I feel about oak, but I got to keep it separate. It just works out better for me. This is white oak. It's beautiful wood, and this is going to make gorgeous firewood. This is my recent load. This is all pin oak that came from log hauler Jesse, and I just got to get this stuff made. These are just gorgeous logs, straight as a pencil. Not much prep work is going to be needed for me other than just getting them put on the table. And my plan is I'm just going to split this for residential wood. I'll use the perfect split 6-way, split them small and stack them, and I'll just have to forget about them. That's what oak means to me. It just slows me down. You know, I'm going to have to look at this stuff now for how long? This is the Bobcat CT 2040. Great tractor, reliable. It does everything I ask it to. This is my trailer. I've ran the jack up so that the water drains out of the back from the rain that we've had. This is a load of, this was brought here in the springtime. It's mostly too big and crooked to run through my machine, but it's also been too hot this summer for me to mess with this stuff. And this pile once looked like this pile, and this has got some big stuff in it too, like this big ash and cherry. And then I got these crooked oaks back here that will be going through the Eastonmade axis. So I am still looking for the ideal spot for the axis to process my big logs, but I don't think it is here, because this is all fine and dandy right now, but when the rain starts coming in, this will be mudded out. It'll be too soft to bring my truck in and out of here. I think I have an idea for it, but I'm just not sure yet. I am set up for production for today. That is a table of, this is all maple here, smaller stuff. So I went ahead and changed out my perfect split for the 4-way knife, and that's going to be handling all these logs. I have my IBC totes in production so that I'm throwing my offcuts here, and that is a huge time savings. I'm sorry it took me so long to do this. I get one of these full, I can just fork it, take it down to the woodshed. Here is the Japa perfect split 6-way and 4-way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 6-way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The cleaner is doing well. I put my trailer underneath here, but I didn't put it for the last couple rows runs. I got it set on my a lid from one of my totes that I cut off, but it sure is making things a lot easier for me. And then the conveyor slews, so I can just leave my trailer. I don't have to start the tractor up and move it forward. I've been using these totes to catch my junk. This is the smalls. Comes off the Perfect Clean conveyor. This is a full tote of sawdust that will be going to a friend of mine who uses this stuff for oil dry. And here is my next one that I'll be setting here to start catching my sawdust. I had a little bit spill out, so I want to shovel that into here before I move this over. But here's this has been sitting out here in the rain, so it might have some water in it. Well, I did throw some sawdust in it because it had like some food junk on the bottom, and I was just throwing that in there to keep the bugs away. Okay, I have loaded some logs from this side, and this ground kind of ramps up, and I'm able to get in here and just drop them on. And the last thing is the Eastonmade axis. Serious guys, I would not be where I am right now production wise without this thing, because I get these big rounds like these that I'm just incapable of picking up. Yeah, these are pretty big, and put them on the super splitter. But the Eastonmade axis has this nice lift, and this ram comes down in the heat of summer. I think the oil expands when the sun gets on it and pushes the ram down. And then I do have the new conveyor, and I'm going to be doing a video on that swap out too. But here I throw my offcuts, my uglies, and I put them in this tote so I can fork this over to the woodshed. So here we go. I would hope if I can get another cool day, I'll have all of this done. I can just pick these up off the ground with my grapple and buck these. I could probably get this to go through the 405. I would need to trim one of the ends off because it is kind of crooked. So there you go, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this. I like to bring you spine-tingling action here at the Ohio Woodburner Woodyard. But I think too, it's exciting for me to show you everything that I got going on, and showing you where I'm at right now on a Sunday, mid-August. And that's what I got going on today, guys. I have production ahead of me, and I got to get it stacking, and then I'll probably have this table loaded up again this evening, and we'll get that out into the woodyard as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we have a big project coming up, and I'm kind of excited about it. And stay tuned. I think you guys are going to love it. All right, guys. Everyone, have a great day.